Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another super cool radio interview. I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. This interview is very special because it's our first ever guest from Austria. On December 13th, Extreme Mind released their debut album entitled Hearing the Bigger Picture. Please welcome from Extreme Mind, Nora and Sam.
Hi, good to be here. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I apologize for my voice. I lost my voice a few days ago, so I apologize for that, but I'll be able to manage through it. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with me.
Yeah, good to be here. Thank you for the invite.
So I'm curious for you guys, obviously, before we dive into the debut album, so like from my research from for Extreme Mind, so you guys formed in 2017. So I'm kind of curious, so like how did the band come together and like what has led to the debut album Hearing the Bigger Picture?
Well, Sam has to tell you that because I'm part of the newer lineup and there's been quite some change actually. Yeah. please take it away, Sam.
Right. I mean, the band formed in 2017 as like a band format, but it used to be more of a solo project or a duo before when I was in Iran in 2013. And so like I started like with a friend of mine in Iran, put together some demos and kind of really like experimenting the very basic ideas, and we put out like some sort of an EP back then. And then I came to Austria and in 2016, and I looked for a lot of, for around a year to find members. And by the time that the lineup was solid enough to start something was around November 2017. And we've been, we were 4 people, and then we had another member, which was our drummer. And because before we had a keyboard player who played drums, and then we had an actual drummer and keyboard player went to play keyboard. And we were this lineup with another singer before Nora joined for like 5 years-ish something. And then we recorded and wrote majority of the album with that lineup. And then we had Nora joining in it's almost 2 years. Wow.
I think it's kind of 2 years.
Yeah. 1 year and a half or something. And then we had, we recorded her. And the album is finally out since last week. So it's been a long ride for sure.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
And so, Nora, I'm curious for you. So, like, how was your process, like, from your perspective, joining Extreme Mind?
Oh, it was really interesting for me, actually, because originally this was just meant to be a one-time thing. Really, I was asked to be a guest singer for just a few shows because the old singer Lassie couldn't fill and he wasn't available. And I do that from time to time, of course, as a singer living in Vienna. Sometimes I fill in for other bands who ask me. And but there was like pretty immediately for me, and I think that feeling was mutual, this first show we played, there was like a very, very magical spark. And it was the same time around when my last big band, Night Marcher, was actually ending after a 10 years run, and really good time. But we just lost our passion over COVID, lost too many valuable members to life, just they were moving away and stuff. And it was very wild for me to think so immediately about maybe joining another band, because I was also in quite a rough spot back then. But it somehow worked out. And at first we made kind of like a weird arrangement of, I can sing for them for now and we see how it goes. And and then it became a stable thing, and we just clicked so well together unexpectedly. And I'm really, really happy I got that opportunity to fill in, and that even the old singer was so cool and could also see and appreciate this magic that he actually let me re-record stuff of this debut album, because originally this debut album was just meant to be with him. But now we have 2 singers. He's on the album and me too, and I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, right on. That's really awesome to hear as well. So, like, I'm curious. So, like, focusing on the album here in the bigger picture, before we dive into like the writing and recording process. So, how does it feel to have the album out?
Oh yeah, it's really strange because like it feels like huge for me and for everybody else, but at the same time, it feels like it's been so many years since we finished recording this whole thing in uh I would say May or April 2021. So it's been a long time since we set on it. So it's kind of like I'm happy that it's out, and I'm really loving the feedback that we're getting so far from it. But at the same time, it's been such a long time that like it feels a bit distant too at the same time, because like it is, it's kind of like that's the 6 years ago me now, so it's like that's what I think of albums as like time capsules, kind of. It's not just the music, it's like the stuff you went through at that time, who you were as a person when you did this, and like everything, and the lyrics you wrote and everything. So it's like it's more than just releasing the music, it's really like putting an end to an era. That's kind of how it feels. Also with the lineup and everything.
And it's so interesting because it feels for you like this because you're an original member, and it's so different for me because I'm just 2 years with the band, of course. And for me, it's just mostly exciting because I'm just working on this album since 2 years. I just grew into it, and I'm just happy that I got the opportunity so unexpectedly to do a new record. And it's been quite some time since I had my last proper recordings with my older bands. And I can really proudly say there's a record that really represents me and how I grew as a singer. And I think it's my best vocal performance yet. I would love to top it with newer stuff we do with Extreme Mind, but that's a really great feeling, I must say. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm really happy to hear. Obviously, both of you guys. It's interesting hearing both of your perspectives on it, being an original band member and then a newer addition to the band in the last few years. It's very interesting, but like I can see both sides of it. As Sam with writing and recording this music, years ago to hearing it now, and then you for coming in like in the later part of the process as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
I mean, I'm just happy I had such good groundwork. That must be said too.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. So I'm curious. So for both of you, so how was the writing and recording process for hearing the bigger picture for each of you?
You want to start again, Sam?
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is that, I mean, it really depends if you're talking like musically or lyrically, like, because they were both like, the way that I would say it, like just with the concept and everything, it's a bit like this album sounds so much like, what an experience that what a person goes through their 20s, in a way of like you trying to find yourself, but you're trying to find the world, like figure out the world at the same time, and you're trying to like kind of see where you fit in the struggles and stuff you realize you have, like issues that you just discover you have because you're away from your family and you're now an adult, and that's like how it really translated into both the music and the lyrics. So it's like the whole package, like the writing of it, it really was that when we met with the lineup in 2017, there were so many like different backgrounds of music coming together, and there were really different ways of writing too. And majority of it was done with the former keyboard player and me, that we would have sessions just like putting stuff together and bringing it to the band and see what the other guys would do. But and that's for the music part of it. You know, of course, there were other members who like had hand in writing too. But as for the lyrics part of it, which one thing that was really interesting was that it was really a huge collaboration between the old singer Lasse and me, and sometimes other guys too. But it was mainly us two, and it is really interesting that like sometimes you would not write at the same time. Sometimes somebody would write earlier and somebody write later, but somehow conceptually they always kind of fitted together, because like the it's really like the perspective of two person on different topics, but somehow they meet, you know. And that was the same thing with the music too. um that was kind of like, I would say like that, but you know, it's been done over a long time, so there were reimagining of the songs, and there were like songs that we, you know, removed, or songs that we like restructured, and until it felt like we had something, which I would say like this is around, if the writing started at late 2017, by 2020 something, like summer of 2020, it already felt like, you know, now we have the record, and we started recording in December 2020.
Yeah, so again, for me, this is so interesting because I came in so much later and it wasn't planned. And then you have like basically an album that was meant to be finished, but then you try to find your way in it. But like what was like the difficult thing for me to do was like making a harmony with the old singer. Like it was very important for me. It was clear it was not about pushing him out of the album, but to better some stuff, right?
Yeah.
To find maybe some space where I can pull off stuff that he couldn't do. I added also so much backing vocals, actually, a lot of harmonies that were not there in the original. And I think the most interesting part was when I tried to learn the songs. So I think it was very, very good, actually, that I started as a guest singer with live shows, because that made me practice these songs. And of course, it forced me to learn all of the songs, but I couldn't sing all of it, because as it was originally, because as Lars's voice is, of course, he has a lower male voice, and I can't reproduce everything. I can reach it, but maybe it doesn't have the same power or same emotion. So I would change lines. I would write new lines who would have the same spirit or the same flow, but they would be in another register or something like that. And then it came together for the re-recording. Sometimes you could make a duet out of it. Sometimes we would say, hey, this part is actually better solo with Nora in another register. And this part of the process was so interesting and fulfilling. And yeah, and I think it really, really took the album on another level.
Yeah, I have to add something little, that like the way that Nora first, like the way that we first met was really interesting, because although that she was supposed to be like the fill-in singer, you know, a part of me obviously was thinking like, let's just see how she would write, you know, like just in case, because, you know, I was like thinking that this might happen, that we might have to ask her. And then what blew me away, although like she didn't really write so much for the album, but like she came, I sent her a song that was for the future project. It was not on the album, and I was just like, you know, if you feel like it, you can do something on it. And then she came to my place with like a full written lyrics, conceptually, melodically already like pretty solid. And then I gave her the mic, and one take she recorded it, and I was like, damn, I never had this before. Like, this is already, I know this is gonna work right.
Yeah.
And so like, and then we somehow like throughout the years also, like, you know, throughout this 1.5 or 2 years, like we found our writing chemistry too, because she started writing more on these future projects, and then lyrically too, we like bounced idea back and forth. And so somehow, even not for this album, we still found our chemistry of writing.
But what will be actually really interesting for future projects too is I actually wrote a lot of vocals and lyrics for my older bands, and I want to do it for this band too. I'm also not only a singer, but I'm also a writer. I'm a novelist, and so I have this natural tendency to pour a lot into it. And the lyrics, as they are on the debut album now, are a product of the past, of the work between Lasse and Sam, but it will be really interesting and probably a very different vibe with Sam and me, or even mostly me, writing new songs. And there's also one that is really, really personal that I mostly wrote, like, I think I wrote almost 100% of these lyrics. You know which one I mean, Emotional Limbo. And but yeah, that's future stuff. But this interflowing and how it changed, this is so interesting in this project.
Well, I'm very happy to hear like you guys obviously working really, really well together. I'm looking forward to hearing some more new music from Extreme Mind, especially with this like newer chapter that you guys have started to establish. I'm very much looking forward to seeing kind of the direction and sound that you guys go with future upcoming music. But before we start closing this interview out, so I'm curious for you guys, maybe one of the more challenging questions I'll ask, but for you guys, what is your favorite Extreme Mind song to perform live?
Ooh, I don't actually know which one is yours, Sam. I'm curious.
I know I know what's yours. You can say it already.
You think so? Yeah. Now for me, it's definitely. It's our single "Deceased Memories." Definitely. It's also the song that where I took a lot of the song, and I really managed to make the song my own. That's also what you always say, Sam, right? It was so different just with Lasse, but it has so much drama and power, and I can do such amazing stuff with my voice there. And when we perform that one live, it's like so. I mean, for me, I try to go all in because it is a song about heartbreak, about a failing relationship, and so I go into this drama with the whole performance, and it's just so much fun to do, and it always has such an amazing response from the crowd as well. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite one live, but very close to All the Way Down, which is our other more darker banger, our other single, and that's also very dramatic, but not like in this musical-esque way, but more in the way of it's a really dark song, which I also like. But Deceased Memory still takes the cake for me, also because it just suits my voice so much. And what's yours?
The funny thing is, like, if you ask me what's my favorite song on the album versus what's my favorite song of playing, it's so different, because ironically, my favorite song of the album is the one that I hate playing live. But,
interesting.
Really?
That's sometimes, there's like this weird like stuff, It's a bit hard to say it at this point after so many years, but I would say I really enjoyed playing. I love playing This Is Memories too, but I really enjoyed playing this one song that we only played one time for our release show, Puzzled Again, because that was a very interesting. I mean, I cannot move so much because it's a very calculative, proggy song. There's a lot of counting sometimes going on, but at the same time, I just loved it because it was this really interesting new feeling of performing it. Maybe because we never done it in so many years. But as for what is my favorite song, for example, of the album to listen to that I don't like to play live that much, is the first instrumental opening track. And I am very surprised that just looking at the streaming, like which song got streamed more this week, that this is the most streamed song of the album, like the very first song, and the second one is the song that Nora was talking about. but I would never expect an instrumental, wild, like jazz, metal, saxophone, marimba. Everything is so much together, which has all the motifs of the album. I was not expecting that people gonna dig this so much, because, like, you know, it's
I was also
yeah,
surprised,
yeah,
because it's an instrumental, but I've also seen several people actually commenting on it, like
yeah.
online, like it stands out to them, I think, because it has this very distinct mixture of jazz and metal and
Mhm.
this fusion aspect that the band is all about, apparently. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
which is kind of like the DNA of the sound, but it does make sense because I think in that song we kind of capture it, and the album is kind of going expanding to different type of stuff. One little thing I can say is that the I think this album as a whole, like, you can hear that it goes to different places. It has like some core sound, but it was really written because of the different musical backgrounds. That's why when you hear, you might get surprised, like, ah, like this song, like it's still like this prog metal thing, but we're going to different kind of realms here. And that was kind of the idea of it. That you know, it's like this literally a bigger picture of different sounds that we can produce.
So as we're starting to close this interview out, so I'm curious for you guys. So obviously we've reached the end of 2024. Got just barely a couple weeks left. But so I'm curious, what are the plans for 2025 for Extreme Mind?
There's some dreams, but not that much fixed yet, I would say. There's one interesting project I'm doing right now in Vienna, and that is me and my keyboard player Stefan. We are actually starting, or we already started, a metal choir. So a choir project where we cover metal songs for singing. And we hope to bring this project onto the stage, but also with like Extreme Mind as a band for support, and that we can even do some songs of Extreme Mind with the choir. That would be so nice, but we still have to see how it goes. The project already started and looks good for now, but I just believe that it happened when it happened is what I'm saying. But there is the debut show for the choir is set to be in the summer during the so-called Donauinselfest here. And I really hope to make that happen. This is really exciting, actually. Yeah. And besides that, we are just hoping to book some gigs to get on stage with this album, and but also to just write a jam on new music, which especially the older band members really need. They took so much time with this album, and they also need something new, I think.
Yeah, I would just second that. And the thing is that I would say the first months of the 2025, it still goes out to promoting this record. We have like still videos coming out. We have a live video coming out and a music video, and then there is like the number one goal is to spread the message, promote it, get out of Austria, for example, like getting gigs, a bit abroad, a bit here and there, and that's something that we're heavily working on right now. At the same time, is also we are already started writing new music. We already started for the next project, concepts coming together, and we're jamming out and we're just playing out. And what I'm really looking for the most is maybe with all this busy stuff we have, is to have a chance to have like maybe one song with the new lineup and the new energy and everything more concentrated. The goal is to capture what we put out for this album and put it into a capsule and make it more like cohesive and more unique, more in the box. And that's the goal. But as Nora said, we are like we're like taking our time a bit. We are like just trying to move like a bit like calculated, but these are the goals. I'm really looking forward to 2025. Just to have this album like off of our shoulder is already incredible. Like I feel so light. We can do anything. But let's see.
For sure.
For sure. Well, I definitely look forward to seeing how 2025 goes for you. I wish you guys all the best and look forward to hearing some more new music from you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, man.
But before we close this out, so for everyone watching and listening, where are the best places to find Extreme Mind online?
For now, that will be, of course, get our album, please, on Bandcamp and all the other places. It's out and it's good, and we appreciate all support. And for all news, I think Instagram is the best to follow us. We post most regularly. We also have Facebook and TikTok. And I think these are the most important places that if I get anything.
And of course, Spotify.
Yeah,
so
sure.
like, you know, we were lucky that some people were kind enough to put us on their playlists. There has been a bunch. There's one that is very interesting for me personally, coming from Iran. There's like this one guy who has like the biggest metal podcast of Iran, who's bringing all the musicians from Iran and the rest of the world kind of together. So it's a really huge honor that they put us there too, with like super upcoming talented bands. And actually, if there's other prog bands watching, we would love to like check their stuff out, and they can, you know, we can put each other on the playlist, like, because I think like we need more of that community vibe. You know, if the industry and everything is like kind of a bit hard to crack, you know, the bands can lift each other up. You know, we can like kind of have something. So that's what I would suggest. You know, just check us on our socials, and we check you out too, of course.
And check our YouTube, of course, as well. All the music videos we have right now that will come up too. We'll put some love into that as well.
Well, very good. I will leave some links for Extreme Mind in the description of this podcast. Please check out and support them. Listen to the debut album, Hear the Bigger Picture, on any of the streaming platforms that you prefer. But as I said, links will be in the description. But Nora, Sam, thank you guys so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio. I had a fantastic time chatting with you guys.
Thank you.
Same here.
For Nora and Sam of Extreme Mind, I'm your host as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.